Wow, it's quiet. Yeah, so we're going to get the energy going in the room again. We're going to actually start a virus. So I'm going to give Nick a fist bump, and then I want you to give 2 people a fist bump, and then just keep doing that cycle until the other room gets it. So do it as quick as possible. Go. Quicker, quicker. You got to get the back, too. What about the back of the room? Whoa. Boom. And now he's gotten in the corner. So you just saw how fast the virus spread. Give yourselves a round of applause. That was fast. So I don't know why it doesn't say virus up there, but yeah. I got the entrepreneurial bug at a really young age. My entire family is entrepreneurial. My grandfather started one of the larger structural glass companies in New York. I know glass is kind of boring. You don't really see it, but he has work in... I mean, you see it, but you don't notice it. We see it right there. He's got Google Glass, but yeah, so my entire family was super entrepreneurial. My parents actually had a little harder time. My dad is a caterer, and my mom's a healthcare recruiter, so I do come from pretty humble backgrounds as far as the rest of my family. But I was infected with this bug at a young age, and I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I wanted to do something with my life, get to a different place. So I started my first company, nowigetit.com. I know that's a great domain name, at 15. And what it was it allowed you to access tutors from around the world via web chat. The only problem with this is that it never fully launched. I made as many business mistakes as you could possibly make. Like if I asked you guys to name a business mistake, I made it. One of those mistakes, and it's probably the biggest and most glaring one, was poor mentor selection. That is a real mugshot. This was actually my mom's ex-boyfriend. And I was starting, I was 15. This guy said he knew tech world, but didn't really. But I was trying to learn from him, and I realized this, a few months down the line, that he was actually a white-collar convict formerly for securities fraud on Wall Street. And so that was a big red flag. That was one of the biggest mistakes I made at 15. Along with other things, like you name it, cash flow issues, not raising enough money. I didn't realize the competition that was out there. I ended up working for them about a year later. I ended up building what I wanted to build with that company. So it all worked out, and everything happens for a reason. But it did spin me down this road of finding, my personal advisory board. I think Steven said I like to think of myself as a business, so I have this idea of a personal advisory board. The biggest person who has impacted my life was the most connected man you don't know in Silicon Valley. And this is David Hassel. He's the CEO of a company called 15Five. And I was reading this story, back in 2011. I just turned 16. And it was about how this guy was uberly connected. He would throw dinner parties. He knew everyone. He was just not a household name yet. And I saw this, and I'm like, wow, I want to be the connector that he is. So naturally, I sent him a LinkedIn message, not an email. I couldn't find it. And it took him 3 months to respond. I actually forgot that I emailed or LinkedIn messaged him. And I'm at a party one day, and I get this note from David. And he's like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry I missed this. How could I have passed this over? Let's set up a time to chat. So we get on the phone. Turns out our values align perfectly. And I offered to work as an unpaid intern in exchange for this gentleman's mentorship. So 14 months later, I'm still at 15Five. I'll tell you more about that later. But this was one of the big turning points in my young life so far. NowIGetIt.com didn't work out, but my second company was called Synergist. And what Synergist was a crowdsourcing site for social entrepreneurs. I started this at 16, and this is just a cool infographic that we made, or visual that we made. And we tried to do something really innovative. We tried to crowdsource our own site on our own platform, which in social entrepreneurship, we were the first ones to do it. In crowdsourcing as an industry in general, we were about the 6th or 7th. That also failed. So now I've failed twice. But did pick up some press. I was also on Forbes, like my mentor, surprisingly called the definition of a social entrepreneur, which I don't deserve that title. I was with a few other teens, as you see, it was a panel. And yeah, I picked up some press, made a lot of more connections. This time I corrected a few of those mistakes I had made earlier, made a few more, and now I'm here where I am now. Things happened for a reason. So the second turning point in my young life so far was finding out about the under 20 community and the Teal Fellowship. I found out about this at a barbecue I went to with David. It was my 1 week in San Francisco last summer. And the founder of Everest, which is a lifestyle app, tells me about the fellowship program. And he's like, you need to apply. You need to be a part of this. So, of course, I look into it. I get home. I'm like blown away. This is crazy. And, of course, for the next 6 months, I try to wiggle my way into the program. I try and meet as many people as possible, just connect with as many people as possible. And I went to the Under 20 Summit in November. That was my first summit. That was the second summit they've ever done. And the weekend was great. It was kicked off by a lot of really good speeches at the beginning. And there was one that stuck out in particular, and it was one I actually should have missed. It was the very last speech of the event. I was supposed to get on a flight, but I walked out of the venue, see my phone that my mom said the flight was delayed. I walked back in, and I listened to Alex Peak give this talk. And what he said was that there's 20 people picked for the fellowship each year. There was about 200 people in the room at the time, but there's 2 billion people in the world currently under 20. And it was our job to spread the virus. So that idea kind of stuck in my mind. And it stuck in my mind until January. I was like, wow, this idea could be really good for a book. And then in February, I kind of acted on it. And now I'm working on a book called 2 Billion Under 20. And 2 Billion Under 20 is a compilation of stories from some of the world's smartest and most talented people at or under 20. I think we have a few in the audience who are in this book. And we have people from 20 plus different countries, 30 plus different states so far, still in the works. And Olympic athletes, Teal Fellows, entrepreneurs, philanthropists, singers, actors, nationally recognized athletes, you name it, we have someone probably in that walk of life. This is the first project I've worked on that has gone pretty much my way. It's also the first time I've worked with someone. I was fortunate to work with a Teal Fellow, Maddie Maxey. She actually had to drop out. Again, everything happens for a reason. And then Stacy contacts me and wanted to be a part of this. So now she's working on that with me, along with her many other things. So this has taught me, and it's given me a great opportunity to try and spread that virus. So my challenge to all of you is to help spread the virus. There's a reason you're in this room right now. It's a culmination of life events. Maybe you just heard about it this morning. Maybe you've been planning this for months. Maybe you met Nick and you decided to try and have our first retreat here. Now we're all on stage speaking. There's a reason you're in this room. And in my opinion, you've been chosen to spread the virus of young people's empowerment. So I don't want to see any smiles. It's a warm and fluffy subject, but you've been chosen to spread this virus, and it's all of your job to join me and the 2 billion people in the world currently under 20 in spreading this virus. Thank you. If you want to say hi, go for it. And thank you.